On the morning of April 3rd, 2021, Alexander Lofgren loaded a white Subaru for a backcountry camping trip. He was 32, a congressional aide from Tucson, a U.S. Army combat veteran. He and his girlfriend, Emily Henkel, drove south into Death Valley on dirt roads near Mormon Point. They hit a rock, 2 tires shredded. The car stopped. They wrote a note and left it on the dashboard. 2 flat tires, headed to Mormon Point, have 3 days' worth of water. Then they walked into the canyon. Lofgren never walked out. It happens on these roads. It happened in July of 1996 when a rented minivan lost 3 tires on the rocks near Anvil Spring Canyon. It happened in August of 2009 when a Jeep Cherokee sank to its axles in sand on Owl Hole Spring Road. It happened in June of 2022 when a car ran dry at Zabriskie Point during a 123-degree heat wave. It will happen again before you finish this video. Death Valley is the largest national park in the lower 48 states. 3,422,024 acres. It received 1,099,632 visitors in 2023. Most of them drove a paved loop. Furnace Creek, Badwater, Zabriskie Point. They saw the salt flats from an air-conditioned car and left alive. But the park has another set of roads. Unpaved, unsigned, unmarked on most GPS databases. Racetrack Valley Road, Saline Valley Road, Titus Canyon, West Side Road, Warm Spring Canyon, Owl Hole Spring Road. No fuel, no food, no water, no cell signal for their entire length. A sign on Badwater Road states it plainly. Next services, 72 miles. You are about to learn 3 things. The exact mechanical sequence that strands a vehicle in this backcountry, the exposed names and dates of people who died because of it, the concrete rules that keep you from becoming one of them. The park has 3 gas stations: Furnace Creek, Stovepipe Wells, roughly 25 miles northwest, Panamint Springs, roughly 60 miles northwest. 3 pumps for 3.5 million acres. Leave the pavement heading south or west, and your next fuel is on the far side of the park. Or not at all. Racetrack Valley Road runs 27 miles of dirt from Ubehebe Crater to the Playa. The first 8 miles climb on severe washboard. Then the road surface shifts to sharp, embedded volcanic rock. The National Park Service warning reads, "The road to the racetrack is rough, and good tires, 4-wheel drive, and high clearance are usually required. Standard rental vehicles are not recommended and often get flat tires." That language is polite. What it means is that standard passenger tires, the kind on every rental sedan at the Las Vegas airport, get sliced open by the rock. Low ground clearance bottoms out. The road takes 1.5 to 2.5 hours one way. No services, no water, no cell signal. The entire way. Most cars carry 1 spare tire. A first flat uses it. A second flat, common on this road, leaves you stranded with no signal and no shade. The only in-park tire repair is Farabee's Jeep Rentals at Furnace Creek. It operates seasonally, September 1st through May 31st, closed all summer. Closed during the months when being stranded is fatal. Then there is heat. The highest reliably measured air temperature on Earth was recorded at Furnace Creek, 130 degrees Fahrenheit, August 16th, 2020, and again, July 9th, 2021. The ground is worse. On July 15th, 1972, the ground surface at Furnace Creek measured 201 degrees Fahrenheit, while the air above it read 128. The valley floor runs roughly 40% hotter than the air. Sand and pavement at that temperature cook exposed skin. They also destroy rubber. A tire already weakened by volcanic rock meets superheated asphalt. The failure is not a matter of if. Now add the telephone. There is limited to no cell phone service in Death Valley. Those are the Park Service's own words. On the backcountry dirt roads, coverage is effectively 0. Your phone will show no bars. Your GPS will lose its signal. And the navigation database it carried in, the route it calculated before you lost connection, may be decades out of date. Death Valley Rangers coined a term for this in the late 2000s. Death by GPS. Park Wilderness Coordinator Charlie Callaghan is credited with popularizing it. The Park Service now warns explicitly, GPS and phone navigation can lead you to dead ends, closed roads, or routes your car has no business being on. If you are stranded, rescue is not coming quickly. The park averages 1 to 3 helicopter-required search and rescue calls per month. Air ambulances deem it unsafe to fly above 120 degrees. At 130 degrees near sea level, a helicopter cannot generate usable lift. The official Park Service language, "We're not going to be able to take that mission." In summer, even ground search is limited by the heat. The Park Service Backcountry Advisory states it directly. Help may be many hours away. Travel prepared to self-rescue. A stranded car in a park this size can sit unseen for days. No one is driving past. No one is checking. 68 people died in Death Valley between 2007 and 2024, roughly 4 per year. Motor vehicle accidents account for approximately 25%. Environmental deaths, all of them hyperthermia, account for roughly 20%. 12 heat deaths in that window. July is the deadliest month, with 11 fatalities. The male death rate is more than 3 times the female rate. Those over 55 are most at risk. The Park Service summary. Most deaths in Death Valley are caused by single vehicle rollover accidents on the park's long, winding roads. The backcountry roads are not the exception. They are the rule, compressed into dirt. David W. Kelleher was 67, from Huntington Beach, California, local, familiar with the desert. In June of 2022, his car ran out of gas at Zabriskie Point. The high that week reached 123 degrees. He left a crumpled note in the vehicle. Out of gas. He walked toward Furnace Creek. A ranger noticed the lone unmoved car in the lot on June 8th. Noticed it again on June 11th. Kelleher's body was found June 14th. 2.5 miles from the vehicle, 30 feet off Highway 190, obscured by terrain and a mesquite tree. Ground and aerial searching had been limited by the heat. Searchers had focused on the wrong canyon. He was a local. He had driven this area before. It did not matter. In July of 1996, Egbert Rimkus, 34, and Cornelia Meyer, 27, both of Dresden, Germany, drove a rented green 1996 Plymouth Voyager minivan into the backcountry via Warm Spring and Anvil Spring Canyon. Tourists, prepared enough to rent a vehicle. 3 of the 4 tires went flat on the rocks. They drove on damaged rims for over 2 miles before abandoning the van. Then they walked south. A beer bottle and a cleared rock ledge mark a rest stop more than a mile from the vehicle. They died of heat and dehydration. The van was found October 21st, 1996, in Anvil Spring Canyon. The adult's skeletal remains were not found until November 12, 2009, 13 years later. Discovered by off-duty search and rescue volunteers Tom Mahood and Les Walker, 3 to 8 miles from the van. Cornelia Meyer's passport and bank ID lay in the dirt beside her. They were experienced travelers. They had a vehicle. They had each other. None of it was enough. In August of 2009, a 28-year-old woman from Las Vegas drove a Jeep Cherokee onto Owl Hole Spring Road for an overnight trip. She used only an in-car GPS, no paper map, no compass. She fixed 1 flat tire. Then, the Jeep buried itself to the axles in sand. No cell signal. She hiked to a peak trying to get one. Nothing. She rationed bottled water. 5 days passed. A ranger spotted the discarded spare tire on the roadside and followed vehicle tracks to the stranded Jeep. The woman survived, severely dehydrated, hospitalized. The Park Service said afterward, "A GPS does not replace a map, a compass, checking in at the visitor center, and letting people know where you're going to be." She had a 4-wheel drive vehicle. She had supplies. She had fixed the first flat herself. Resourceful. It did not matter. On July 3rd, 2023, a 65-year-old man from San Diego was found by a Park Service maintenance worker off a park road in the Southern Valley. His sedan had 2 flat tires and a non-functioning air conditioner. Tire tracks showed the car had run along the shoulder and rocky berm before veering off the road. The prior day's high was 126 degrees. The overnight low was 98. His window was down. Investigators believe heat illness caused him to lose control. He was driving on pavement, not even on a backcountry track. The heat got him anyway. On July 6, 2024, a motorcyclist in a group of 6 German riders collapsed 2 miles south of Badwater Basin. The high that day hit 128 degrees, surpassing the daily record. A second rider was hospitalized. Helicopter evacuation was impossible, too hot to fly. He was not alone. He was in a group. He was on the main road. It did not matter. Steve Curry was 71, from Sunland, Los Angeles. On July 18th, 2023, hours before he died, a Los Angeles Times reporter interviewed and photographed him at Zabriskie Point. He was sheltering under a metal interpretive sign. Then he hiked at Golden Canyon. The temperature hit 121 degrees. He collapsed near the restroom at the trailhead shortly after 3:30 in the afternoon. Rescuers could not revive him. A medical helicopter could not respond. Too hot to fly. He is one of the most publicly documented heat deaths in the park's history. Photographed alive the same morning. He was experienced, a hiker. He had been there before. It did not matter. If places like this are why you check your fuel gauge twice before leaving pavement, this channel exists for that exact instinct. In July of 2010, Donna Cooper, 62, and her friend Jenny Leung, 19, visited Scotty's Castle and followed a sign marked racetrack onto dirt roads. Their GPS map was outdated. It led them deeper. They lost cell service. They ran out of gas after roughly 100 miles, deep in remote Saline Valley. The heat reached 128 degrees. They found a private camp, trailers owned by Marilyn Meyer and Peter Samuelson, and sheltered there for 3 days. They drank hot water from a garden hose. They ate canned food they found in the cabinet. A family member in Florida noticed a credit card charge at Scotty's Castle and called the California Highway Patrol. A Highway Patrol helicopter spotted the dusty Hyundai and Jenny waving a yellow blanket. They lived. What saved them was shade, water, even hot water from a spigot, and the fact that someone outside the park knew where they had last been. The credit card charge was a thread. Someone pulled it. Emily Hinkle survived the canyon that killed Alexander Lofgren. After he fell roughly 70 feet from a dry fall and died of his injuries about half an hour later, she climbed down to reach him. She fell too, shattered her ankle. She could not walk. She stayed in that steep desert canyon for roughly 6 days, beside his body, unable to move. Inyo County Search and Rescue, park rangers, and a Lemoore Naval Air Station helicopter located her on April 13th, 2021. They hoisted her out. She lived because she stayed put. She did not try to walk on a shattered ankle. She conserved water. She waited. And someone reported them missing. The rules are not complicated. They are the difference between the people above who lived and the people who did not. 1. Never enter backcountry roads without a full tank and enough fuel to drive the entire route twice. There is no gas on Racetrack Valley Road. There is no gas on Saline Valley Road. There is no gas on Titus Canyon Road. The sign says next services 72 miles. Believe it. 2. Carry at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. That is the Park Service minimum. In summer, carry more. If you are stranded for 3 days, and people are, that is 3 gallons per person at minimum. 3. Carry 2 full-size spare tires if you are driving Racetrack Road or any volcanic rock backcountry track. 1 spare is not enough. The road shreds tires in pairs. The failure sequence that killed Lofgren, the German family, and the unnamed San Diego driver all began with a second flat. 4. Carry a satellite messenger, a Garmin InReach, a spot device, a Zoleo. Cell coverage is 0 on backcountry roads. Your phone cannot save you. The Park Service says it directly. Carry a spot device or satellite to make emergency phone calls. 5. Tell someone outside the park your route and your expected return time. Donna Cooper lived because a family member in Florida checked a credit card statement. Emily Henkel lived because someone reported her missing. If no one knows you are gone, no one is looking. 6. If you are stranded, stay with the vehicle. A car is visible from the air. A person walking in a canyon is not. David Kelleher walked 2.5 miles and was found 30 feet off a highway, invisible. The German tourists walked 3 to 8 miles and were not found for 13 years. The car is shade. The car is a signal. Stay with it. 7. Do not trust GPS in this park. Download offline maps before you lose signal. Carry a paper map. The Park Service. GPS and phone navigation can lead you to dead ends, closed roads, or routes your car has no business being on. The term death by GPS exists because the failure is common enough to name. 8. Do not enter backcountry roads between June and September unless you are prepared to self-rescue in 130-degree heat. That means no outside help for 24 hours or more. Helicopters cannot fly. Rangers cannot search. The park's own advisory. Help may be many hours away. Death Valley does not chase anyone. It does not have to. 3.5 million acres of patience. It waits at the end of a 27-mile washboard road where the tea kettles hang from a signpost and the sailing stones drag their trails across the playa in silence. Rocks up to 600 pounds, pushed by panels of ice 3 to 6 millimeters thick on rare winter mornings. That mystery, solved by Norris and colleagues in 2014, is the only kind of mystery this place offers willingly. The other mysteries are just people who never came back. The park will be here next summer, and the summer after. It recorded 1,099,632 visits last year, and 68 deaths in the last 17 years, and it did not notice either number. It does not notice. Alexander Lofgren's white Subaru sat on that backcountry road with 2 shredded tires and a handwritten note on the dashboard. 2 flat tires, headed to Mormon Point, have 3 days' worth of water. He was 32, a veteran. He had water. He had a plan. He had a note. The canyon did not read the note.